So here's my finished self-contained Airsoft. It's a pump action. Originally I was going to have the handle here do the pump, but now it's all done from this side lever here. It charges the spring and it loads at the same time, so it's just one action. The whole thing is like 20 inches long. The barrel itself is about 10 inches long. It starts back here where the BB's loaded, goes along and finishes around here. You can see the barrel inside there, that's the end of the barrel. This piece here is just hollow. I drilled the holes just to make it lighter really, and just to release that air. Again, it's all handmade apart from the cheap eBay red dot, which really is cheap and nasty. Didn't make the cylinder. That's a 2-inch stroke, 1/16 inch bore, double acting cylinder. It joins in at the back here on a thread. The front I drilled extra holes, so there's no restriction of air going into it. I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but I didn't want to restrict it movement there by making too much of a vacuum. This loading mechanism here is off a couple of guns I've made before. It works really well. I didn't really want to throw it away, but everything else is new, mostly stainless steel. All this is stainless steel. This is a piece of aluminum. This mount bracket here is aluminum, but a piece of 3/4 plywood for the grip there, that worked out quite nicely. On the other side here, this is what gives it its power. It's 3 compression springs, and I actually had to braze them together to stop them twisting and jamming on this guide rod here, which is obviously why real Airsofts only have 1 spring. That made a huge difference, and there's also a bit of grease in there. This is the trigger mechanism on the right hand side. It's 2 pieces. Trigger pushes up that release latch. It was just something I thought up and tried it, and surprisingly it works, and it works really well. Not too much force required to release it, but enough to give it a real sort of trigger feel, but I didn't want it too easy trigger pull anyway. Power, it's pretty low. It's sort of what I expected. I haven't tried it on a chronograph yet. I'm guesstimating maybe 200 feet per second at most, which is fine. That's sort of what I want. It's something low power. I can even use it inside if I want. I've got some targets for use indoors. I will put it on the chronograph later and get some real figures from it. So here's how the charge works. This charge handle here pushes on this bolt, which pushes on the spring till it goes far enough to latch. Then this can return. The spring is now charged, ready for the trigger to release it and fire a shot. At the same time that it's charging the spring, it's also pulling on this linkage at the back here, which moves this plunger, and it lets a BB in to this fitting here. It's now resting on top of this little plunger here, and as the charge handle comes back, the plunger comes up, lifts the BB up into the barrel section so it's ready to fire. You can actually see the plunger inside there. It just lets in 1 at a time. It's fairly reliable. It's just gravity fed. The last few BBs don't feed too well because of the shape of the tube. It goes horizontal here. So this will hold like 22 BBs. If I fire like 10 at a time, it's pretty reliable. The last few don't feed so well because there's nothing to push them down under gravity. So I normally fire 10 and then reload it. Just a little screw thread on the top. Could make a longer one, but this one's fine for 10 shots. Yeah, I'm just going to fire a few shots here, show you how it works.